This would be a perfect fit and a steal for the Cavaliers if they could sign this player to a vet minimum who is looking to make an NBA comeback after battling injuries recently. He claims that he is ready to play in the NBA at a top level again, and for a vet minimum and a guy that is proven to be able to compete with the best and compete at a high level and perform at a high level, this would be a great steal for the Cavaliers as they continue to look to fill in their 14th and 15th spot on their roster. I'm Matt Blanchard, your Cavs Digest. Thank you guys so much for joining me. You saw it in the intro who we're talking about, but before we dive into this player, go and hit the subscribe button because we're seeing rumors like this, we're seeing reports like this, and that's we want to be the channel where you guys can go and find every small report to every major report and everything and all things Cavaliers related, and that's where you can find them here at Cavs Digest. I'm Matt Palangi, your host today, and I'm ready to dive into some new news that we have surrounding the Cavaliers with their interest in attending a private practice and workout of a former NBA, well, not former NBA player, but someone who hasn't played due to battling some injuries, claiming that he feels totally healthy and ready to play at the NBA at a high level again. And why is this a steal for the Cavaliers? Although dangerous because he is a guard, this player who, when he performs, when he does play, is an absolute all-star level talent, and you could get him for a vet minimum, and I think that this would be a perfect fit for the Cavaliers. So let's dive into the report. The Cavs represented at Victor Oladipo's workout in Vegas. So Victor Oladipo is the player we are talking about today. This is a shooting guard who played for the Heat, the Pacers. I believe he was drafted to the Magic. He was actually drafted after Anthony Bennett. So the Cavs could have drafted him and had him, but instead they drafted Anthony Bennett, who was such a great draft pick. Anyways, Victor Oladipo, who was drafted to the Magic, then I believe he was a part of the Serge Ibaka trade, ended up in OKC, and then ended up in Indiana, where he probably had his best season, taking the Cavs and LeBron James to 7 games. I have a photo of that. Here we go. If you see this was when the Cavaliers won in 7 games. After an intense series and an intense Game 7, the Cavaliers managed to beat out Victor Oladipo to win the first round in 7 games. Victor Oladipo competed this whole series, and he competed this whole season. It was his last season where he looked like he was fully healthy. He played 70 games in this season in 2017, 2018, and that's what the Cavaliers are hoping they can get, is someone that's healthy. So if you kind of dive into his stats here, you can kind of look at the games played, how he hasn't played a lot of games in basically forever, since 2017, 2018. But thankfully, 2 years ago, he played 42 games in which he had 10 points on 40% from the field and 33% from 3. Yes, 10 points isn't much, but for a guy that was battling injuries before that, it's not that bad. So you kind of have to just break down the fact that this would be a steal for the Cavs due to the fact that it would just be a low-risk, high-reward player. And we're going to dive into what people are saying about Victor Oladipo. But again, if you're unfamiliar, Oladipo he was an all-star on the Pacers. He was a contender to beat LeBron James in the first round of the playoffs when LeBron owned the East, when he was on the Cavs in his second stint. It looked as if Indiana could have been the team to stop him. Victor Oladipo was on this, what Tyrese Haliburton was on last year, but on some sort of, Cinderella magical run. But came up short by 4 points in Game 7. So I showed you his stats, and it doesn't seem like he has been very, very healthy. But let's kind of dive more into reports. I showed you this about they were at his private workout in Vegas today. So let's dive into some of the reports what people are saying. So this is from Andy Quach at Sports Illustrated. They should be using their 2 open roster spots to swing for the fences in hopes of adding somebody who can significantly raise their ceiling. Victor Oladipo could be that guy. So the Cavs are missing a 14th and a 15th spot on the roster. We kind of lean towards Naquan Tomlin to fill in one of those spots. So that's why Victor Oladipo is kind of a question mark, because instead of getting a backup big, you picking up Oladipo would mean you either have to eliminate getting a backup big man, or you'd have to eliminate the idea of pulling up Naquan Tomlin. So that's where the Cavs are kind of stuck here, why it is a little bit of a risk, because you're kind of lowering your roster. But as Andy Quach said, this is a guy that when he plays, if he is really healthy, this is a star. Like, this guy is legitimately incredible at the game of basketball. This is a bona fide bucket getter. This guy's a hooper. He performed. He was the best player on the Pacers in 2017, 2018, had phenomenal stats, took them all the way to Game 7 against the Cleveland Cavaliers. When this team was barely projected to make the playoffs, Victor Oladipo stepped in to be their best player. He's a crafty offensive shot creator. He's a phenomenal athlete. He did a 720 in the dunk contest when he was in Orlando. This guy is a crafty scorer, a phenomenal shot creator, can shoot the ball, is solid, He can create shots from the perimeter. He's very, very clutch, and we love what he is doing right now. So he's talking about how he wants to make an NBA comeback. Let's see what Oladipo had to say about his comeback. I feel so great right now, better than I felt in the last 7 years, mind, body, and soul. I know I am a fighter. I know I am a warrior. I've seen every lens this game and this league has to offer. I know I can help any team in any role win in any way. I also know that people want to see me succeed in this game and play at the highest level again. My injuries are behind me, and it will never happen again. That's bold, but I hope he's right. Because, no one wants to see injuries, whether he's on the Cavs or not. I am at peace with that in my past. I'm ready to build a present now and a future of a lifetime. I want to share my story, my journey, and give it back to the people because without them, there would be no VO. I want to show the world that even in the darkest of places and during the darkest times in the light in you can lead to the brightest destinations. From Victor Oladipo on his X account. So he's talking a big game about, he's first of all, he's being really motivational. I love what he had to say, but he's talking a big game about how injuries are behind him and that he really, really sees himself being able to help any team win. So now, going off of that, let's see what someone else had to say about signing Victor Oladipo. This is from RG.org. Grant Avseth was the writer. He said, or what a source told him when he wrote this. He looked good and explosive. I could see him helping a team. One source in attendance told RG. He can still hoop. He's in shape and he wants it. You know what? If he's healthy and he wants it, I'm taking it. I would love a guy that has this much talent that really, really wants it so bad to be a Cavalier. And that's my personal opinion. A guy that's shown that he can perform at the best level. A guy that's shown that he can put up numbers but also win games. A guy that has a long history of injuries, but if he claims they're behind him, you can take a shot on him. Worst comes to worst, you release him and you pull up Naquan Tomlin. I understand that you have guards on your roster. You have Proctor, but Proctor's not really playing the best. I know he had 35, but he's not playing at a level that we think he could play at. Yes, you have Sam Merrill, but Oladipo has a higher ceiling than Merrill. Merrill's just Mr. Consistent for them, money Merrill, and that they love him. Oladipo has a higher ceiling than so many players on your bench. It's just, is he healthy? Can he be healthy? This was in the first play of his workout. He posted on X. Drives by 2 defenders. Yeah, absolutely posters the guy badly. That was embarrassing. But, of course, I don't know how good those players are he's playing against. But that's not the point. We're talking about Victor Oladipo making a comeback to the NBA. He's very, very confident, and other teams are in attendance. I believe the Magic were one of them, the team that drafted him, the Orlando Magic. It seems as if they're willing to take a shot on Victor Oladipo as well. So the Cavs aren't just competing with themselves. They're maybe competing for other teams. And I think that if you are willing to take a shot on Oladipo, because if he is healthy, his ceiling is very, very high, as you can see from these stats. A guy that was able to average 20 points in a season twice. A guy that was able to average 20 points in a season 3 times, including a 23.1 season with the Pacers. This guy can play basketball. This guy's very, very good. I showed you his highlights. He's a phenomenal basketball player. He's a good shot creator. He's a great athlete. We love what Oladipo has done in his career. We're just worried about his health. And that's the only thing that the Cavs have to worry about. Well, one of the only things. The other thing is if they fill in their 14th roster spot with Victor Oladipo, does that mean that you can't get a backup center? Does that mean that Naquan Tomlin just sits on the bench? Does that mean that you put Proctor into the G League? There's a lot of question marks surrounding the Cavs roster and what it's going to look like going into the season. But because what I showed you from the Sports Illustrated report, what people are saying, it seems like this guy raises your ceiling if he plays. Worst comes to worst, you have to release him because he shows that he can't play and then he has to sign somewhere else or whatever. But I feel like this is a perfect opportunity for the Cavs to raise their ceiling with a guy that was able to perform at an all-star level before his injuries. And he claims his injuries are behind him. So we will see if Oladipo can perform at that level. And of course, even if he's not on the Cavs, I do hope Oladipo can perform at that level because he's a great guy, great basketball player. Sucks that he battled so many injuries, but I really, really do believe that Victor Oladipo could make an NBA comeback and be a Cavalier based on apparently what people are saying that he looked good, and Sam Amico says that the Cavs are urged to sign Victor Oladipo before he slips away. So this raises their ceiling a lot, and I think that could lead to this being an absolute steal for the Cavs. I'm Matt Blangy here at Cavs Digest. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Go ahead and comment down what you think of Victor Oladipo. Would this be a steal for the Cavs? Should this not be anything that we should even think about? Should the Cavs just look at Naquan Tomlin and backup centers or other veteran options? What do you guys think? I think Victor Oladipo could be a low-risk, high-reward player due to his past ceiling and even his most recent season when he was able to play 20 plus minutes in a game and average 10 points a game. I think Oladipo could raise your ceiling significantly. So let me know what you guys think. And subscribe, share this video with your friends. Of course, as I said, I'm Matt Palangi. Thank you guys for joining me here on Cavs Digest.